and this is How to Train Your Caterpillar, a spiritual life coaching channel. You're very, very welcome here. Thank you for checking out the channel and the video. I appreciate it a lot. This video is going to be about etheric cords, like what they are and how you can get rid of them, and also how they might be holding you back in life without you really knowing it, because they're sneaky like that. So before I get into it, I just want to say again, thank you for checking out the video. Hopefully you'll find something in it that you can use and you'll enjoy it, and if that is the case, and you feel called to like and subscribe for me, I would appreciate that very much as well. So I actually this is not the video that I wanted to, well, not wanted to, but it's not what I was going to make. Like, I sat down to make this video yesterday, and I was going to do something different, but then actually as I sat down I was like, I should do a video about etheric cords. And then, you know, I had a whale of a time. I'm trying not to swear. I had a whale of a time, like trying to get the video done. Weird stuff kept happening. Like, one of my lights just died for no reason, so I had to stop the video, and then my laptop decided it was going to do like crazy updates in the middle of the video, so I lost my fireplace and I lost the other light, so I ended up just giving up. And this morning when I woke up, I had a song playing over and over in my head that I've not heard for months. I don't know if you know this guy. His name's Lewis Capaldi. He's super famous in Scotland. He's Scottish, and he's really famous and he's really big here in the UK, but obviously sometimes it doesn't translate to like bigger countries like the States, because, you know, sometimes we'll be like, oh, British stuff, and America's like, what? We don't know about that. Because we get your stuff, but obviously sometimes you don't care about our stuff because we're small. But he has this song called Before You Go, and it's actually a very sad song about a death in his family, but I've had this song playing on a loop in my head since I woke up, and that's relevant to etheric cords. Okay, because I feel like I'm making this video for someone who's trying to move on from someone else, but there's someone that doesn't want to let you go. Okay, I don't know who that's for, but this video is for you. Okay, so etheric cords are energetic cords of attachment, like between you and another person. Okay, we have them with everyone, you know, everyone that you meet, either online or in person, whether it's a good relationship or a bad relationship, you will have an etheric cord with this person, like a excuse me, an energetic cord. So it's not a bad thing, right? We have etheric cords with you know, friends and family and romantic partners, and, you know, usually it's fine and there's no problem. Excuse me. I don't know why I'm losing my voice. The problem arises when the connections become toxic, right? Either, I'm not saying that the person, it can become toxic without the other person being toxic, if you see what I mean. It's just that the situation itself may have become toxic because you've like outgrown the situation and you need to move on, but there's this etheric cord here, or, you know, it's just a low vibrational person and you need to move on, basically. But there can be this etheric cord that's keeping you stuck, right? So let me give you an example, which is going to sound really silly, but stay with me, right? Cinderella, okay? So, you know, everybody knows the story of Cinderella, right? You know, she was being abused by her two, you know, wicked stepsisters and her stepmother. You know, she did all the chores, like, you know, wash the dishes, Cinderella, clean the carpet, Cinderella. And, you know, they would always put her down and be like, oh, you know, you think you're gonna get with a prince, and you think you're coming to the dance, like, you're not getting any of that stuff, you gotta stay here and clean up, you know. She was being abused, right? But there will be etheric cords between her and the sisters and the stepmother, right? But these are toxic, these are toxic relationships. So it's an etheric cord that's tying you to a toxic relationship, because that's a codependent relationship, right? Cinderella has low self-esteem, she's being abused, she's not speaking up for herself, She's dealing with narcissistic, very strong, overbearing personalities who are taking, abusing her, putting her down, taking her energy, right? That's codependency in a nutshell. When you are giving, and the other person is taking, you're getting nothing back, you're getting no love, you're getting no support, you're being put down. That's codependency in a nutshell. So, you know, then Cinderella meets the handsome prince, right? And she goes off with the handsome prince. However, the sisters and the mother are still going to have this etheric cord with Cinderella. While the etheric cord is still there, it's almost like, if you think of it this way, Cinderella's kind of trying to like get her way, like claw her way out of it towards like the prince and her new life. But you know, the sisters and the mother, it's almost like a grappling hook kind of, you know, in your energetic body, like pulling you back, you know, because they don't want her to leave, because they're getting something out of it, right? They're getting her energy, they're taking energy from her, you know, she's doing all the chores, they're putting her down, so they're getting like an ego boost from this, because, you know, it's like, well, I'm going to make you feel bad about yourself so I can feel good, and you know, you're doing all this stuff for me. So they're not going to want her to leave, right? So there may be some guilt there, you know, like if this was, you know, modern day, you know, there might be text messages like, you're so selfish, you're so self-involved, like how dare you go off and try and have a new life, all you think about is yourself, blah blah blah. Is that true? Like, you know, watching this situation happen to Cinderella, like, are you thinking like, oh my god, like she's such a bad person for thinking of herself and going off with the handsome prince? She should definitely have stayed with like the toxic relationship, the codependency where she was getting nothing. That's not what you're thinking, right? You're thinking like, yes, run, go. But you know, if you were Cinderella in this situation and you had this kind of tendency to people please and be in codependent relationships, then, you know, this etheric cord would be kind of pulling you back, and you'd be like, oh, I feel so guilty, what's going to happen to them, maybe I am selfish. And the thing is, while these people are pulling you back, it can make it very difficult for someone new to come in because they're taking up all this space, right? So what you want to do in that situation, what Cinderella needs to do, is to cut the etheric cord. Because that pull, that grappling hook pull that's trying to keep you in this toxic BS is going to be gone, okay? So a lot of the time when you have a situation like that, you feel a very strong bond with the person, but it's almost like a trauma bond, right? And particularly if you're someone that's had this your whole life, this codependency thing and this people-pleasing thing, it's going to feel very different for you to be like, no, I don't want this, like I've seen what I can have, you know, because Cinderella, she met the prince and she was like, wait a minute, I can have this person like has respect for me and like treats me right, well I'm gonna go here, right? So the cutting of the etheric cords, it just makes it much easier to leave the situation behind, because you don't feel that pull. Because like I said, you might be feeling this very strong urge to move on. You know, you might be like, I don't want to be here anymore, you know, and it can be anyone, it can be friends, family. Let's take, for example, an ex, right? Or like a romantic partner. So say there's a person who, you know, they don't want to be in a relationship with you, they're not willing to commit, but at the same time, they don't want to let you go, right? Because they're getting like an ego boost from you being around, right? And you're like, you know, something solid that they can come back to, they like your energy, you make them feel good, you know, it gives them an ego boost, but at the same time, they're not willing to make that change, you know, that's like, okay, you know, let's do this, right? That's fine. They don't have to do that. That's fine. That's totally their choice. You know, you wouldn't want them to be in a relationship with you when they didn't want to be there anyway, but at the same time, they can't have their cake and eat it. You can't have both. So that's the type of energy I'm talking about. It's like people that can't treat you right, but who don't want to let you go because they're getting something from you, they're getting energy from you, right? God, my throat's really going. It doesn't also, you know, it doesn't have to be people from your past that don't want to let you go. It can be people who are currently in your life that are negative, like toxic. So say for example, it's someone at your work, right? You know, there's always that one person at your work that's kind of, you know, like they're kind of negative and they always cause drama, you know, and you're just trying to stay in your lane and get your work done, you know, and there's this person who's like singled you out, probably because you're just staying in your own lane and trying to get your work done. There's this person that's kind of singled you out, you know, like locked onto you, that's kind of, you know, they always develop that, I don't know, I get that a lot, people that develop like a weird obsession with hating you and you're like, cool, thanks, that's great. So that's an energetic cord that you don't want, right? Because that's, you know, someone who's kind of attached themselves to you, but they're thinking kind of negatively, you know, they're kind of sending you negative juju. So the etheric cord cutting is going to do that too. I had to restart the video because my brain went totally blank, which was bizarre, but that usually says to me when spirit does that, it usually means I've gone off topic. So I'm going to start from this point, okay, because maybe I went off on a tangent they didn't want me to say. But ways to do the cord cutting. There are different ways to do the cord cutting. So the first thing I want to say is, like, if you're worried that doing a cord cutting is going to cut people out of your life that are meant to be there, you don't need to worry about that, okay? Spirit has a very bird's eye view of things, so they can see who needs to go and who can stay, right? Because positive relationships where there's an equal exchange of energy, great. Etheric cords all the way, brilliant. Codependency where you're giving, they're doing nothing, that's not okay, that's gotta go, right? Because actually sometimes you might find that if you have, there's blessings that want to come in for you, but Spirit's not going to give them to you until you get rid of this person or these people, because they don't want that person to have it. They don't want that person to share in your blessings. So they may very well be holding you back, like a lot. You know, there might be like a new life that Spirit has planned for you, but you're attached to this person, you know, like Cinderella, right? Spirit had this new life that she was meant to have. She was supposed to go live in a castle with a prince, but instead of that, you know, the sisters and the mother are there with their grappling hooks like, don't leave us, you're selfish. It's all your fault. You're so sensitive. All this gaslighting shit. So yeah, you don't need to worry about cutting out the wrong people here, okay? So one of the ways that you can do it is by calling in Archangel Michael. So Archangel Michael is someone, he's very good at cutting out things that like don't need to be there, right? So you can ask Archangel Michael, say like, you know, please come in and cut out any, you know, low vibrational or draining energies in my life, for example. You can look this up as well, you know, after you watch the video, you can go and look up cord cutting Archangel Michael and a bunch of stuff will come up. But something like that, for example, and then actually visualize him coming in with his sword, cutting away these cords, because you can think of them as like, I don't know, you can visualize them however you want, but actually visualize him cutting them away. So that's one way that you can do it. Obviously, if you watch this channel, you know that I love sound healing. I use it for everything, and I use sound healing for etheric cord cutting as well because it's really easy. I find it works better for me than meditation, but that's just me. You know, you might find meditation works better for you. But if you go to like a platform like YouTube and type in etheric cord cutting frequency or subliminal, a bunch of stuff will come up. You can see which one is right for you. Stick it on a loop. Go to sleep, and if it's an effective one, you should notice that you wake up in the morning and you'll feel a lot lighter, right? Because you could be carrying etheric cords from tons of people, you know, people that you've met online, people that you met in Tesco's that took a weird dislike to you, you know, all sorts of people. So you wake up and you'll feel a lot lighter. And if you had this like weird bond with this, I don't know, say it's an ex, you had like this bond with this ex where you want to move on but you feel tied to them, you may find that you wake up and you're like, okay, bye, and you just move on and that's it. And it's as simple as that. So sound healing is a great way to go. You can also, of course, you can do meditations. If you go to YouTube and look up meditations for cord cutting, etheric cord cutting. There'll be a ton of stuff that comes up. There's little short ones that you can use, there's longer ones. You can use affirmations. I will put an example of an affirmation at the end of the video if you want to use it, but of course you can go and look up your own stuff. I'm sure there's other ways of doing cord cutting. If anyone wants to mention them in the comments, feel free to do that. But yeah, this video is definitely for someone. I don't know who it's for, but I hope you found something in it that you can use, and I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like and subscribe for me if you feel like doing that. I'd appreciate that a lot. And as always, I wish you many, many blessings, love and light. Take care.